Frankie here, you know what I'm saying? Had to reshoot this video because the last one you couldn't hear shit, all the wind, you know? So it is whatever, you know what I'm saying? So my shirt's all over the place. I put my jacket on, my shirt's all over the place. That's why I keep like stretching it out. See how the collar's all bunched up. anyway, whatever. Let it go. I look like shit either way. Yeah. So I'm not gonna do my usual thing or telling stories about my life. I just wanted to focus light on a specific issue. Okay. So not only in my channel will I talk about my past life, but I'm also gonna talk about current events, right? And if I'm gonna talk about current events, guess which event I'm gonna talk about first? The corona fucking virus. That's right. Coronavirus. This is something that is pretty much unprecedented. The only two things that kind of compare are like the bubonic plague, which was like in the 1500s or something. I don't even know, and the Spanish flu. Okay. And the tuberculosis epidemic wasn't as bad as the coronavirus, though. That's for sure. SARS wasn't shit, compared to this. SARS is probably like 1/10 of what this is. Okay. And Spanish flu is probably like half of what this is. I don't know. My stats are probably shit, but this is a big fucking deal, right? This is a huge deal. I mean, they canceled the NBA season. Just think about that, dude. Just wrap your brain around that. If they were to tell you, 5 years ago, hey, the NBA season is going to be cut short halfway through, and it's not going to be because of a lockout or anything like that, what would you see? You would have been like, what the fuck? Seriously? What for? You know? And then if you would have found out what for, you'd be like, wow, man, this seems like some apocalyptic shit. Because it is. Because it is. It is borderline apocalyptic. So I think the numbers are false. I think like just like 2 million people died in China where it originated. That's what I think. I've seen YouTube videos of just like 18-wheeler trucks just filled with bodies, and they're in body bags, but you can like still see people moving in the body bags. The bodies were just so fucking contaminated, they didn't want to deal with them and shit, and they're just cremating people like at a rapid rate. You know what I'm saying? Cremating people and sending their ashes to their family in an urn with an urn and a plaque or whatever. You know. But yeah, they don't give them an option. They don't say, hey, we can put this toxic corpse in a coffin for you. They just cremate them. You don't have a choice. At least in China. I think here too. Well, no, actually no. There was a viewing. But that person. Okay. Yes, there was a viewing, but I don't think that person had coronavirus. That's why they allowed the viewing. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, and you guys have to look that up. Yeah, but I know in China they're cremating bodies like nothing. So there's a lot more deaths than they reported. Basically, what I'm saying is this shit's a lot more serious than even that we know about. Yeah. Yeah, I would say just a fair estimation. Take all the numbers that you have, multiply them by 2, and that's more a realistic picture. So say like if there's 700 people in Bexar County, multiply that by 2, and that's probably how many their people are really infected. You know what I'm saying? They just don't even know it. A lot of people are infected and don't know it, man. That's what's so deadly about it. Like 3 people can have it. 2 of those 3 fine. The 3rd person gets it, they're dead within 2 days. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how it fucking is, dude. That's how it is. I know it takes at least 48 hours to kill you. At least, probably more, but that's how it works. And there's 2 people that are walking around have no idea, and they walk around to another 2 people, and so on and so forth. And, those 2 people are fine, but the 3rd one is sick, and the next one, all 3 of them are sick, and only one of them's fine, or what? It's a serious pandemic, and I didn't just want to focus on the coronavirus in general. I want to focus more particularly on the incarceration that occurs during the coronavirus, and even more specifically to the Bexar County Jail, as it pertains to the Bexar County Jail, right? Because that's where I live. That's kind of what I want to kind of give this channel kind of a local San Antonio feel, you know, because San Antonio is a very underrated city. It's a very underrated. It's a huge city. It's like 2 million people, you know. It's like 2 million people. Well, you know, it's like 1.5 million, but if you include the metro area, it's like 2 million people, you know. So it's a huge freaking city. It's like the 7th biggest in the United States, and it doesn't really get the media coverage that it deserves. It's a very underrated city. There's a lot going on here, you know. There's no famous rappers from here. That's the thing, you know. The one good rapper that we had, MG Vaughn, got murked, you know, which is fucking ridiculous, dude. You know, that guy, whoever shot MG Vaughn, you're trash, dude. Straight up, you're fucking trash. Straight the fuck up. Because MG Vaughn was the only good thing San Antonio had as far as rapping. So another bad thing San Antonio has is police officers, sheriff's office, and San Antonio Police Department, Bexar County Sheriff's Office, both garbage. There are people in the Bexar County Jail literally for like driving without a license right now, or like a hit and run or something. You know, hit and run where nobody was injured, and it was like maybe like $250 worth of damage, and they're fucking sitting in a jail cell, locked in right now. Okay? Locked in a jail cell 24 hours a day for smoking weed or driving without a license. Alright? That's the reality. For criminal trespassing, for not having a place to sleep at night and sleeping under a bench that's private property, guess what? They're taking you to jail. If you can't post bond, you're screwed. You're sitting in a cell, you know. And, you know, I'll be fair and say, you know, most of the petty crimes that people get charged with in San Antonio, people are released on bond, you know. Most of them. Probably like 75%. People are released on bond. Either they pay their bond because it's such a small bond, or they just get a PR bond, right? Or police can even cite and release people. But what about those 25%? You know, if they're arresting 200 people a day for petty shit, which they're not, but let's say they're arresting 100 people a day for petty shit, right, in San Antonio. Which, that's too high. Let's say fuck. Let's say they're arresting like 50 people a day for petty shit, right? And like 15 of those people don't get out, right? So there's like 15. Let's just say there's 10 people. Say there's 10 people every day that are going into jail for very petty shit because they can't make bond or whatever. Sorry, I know my statistics are crap, but let's just say, for example, 10 people every day are going locked into a cell for 24 hours a day for smoking weed, you know, like smoking weed while they were on probation, you know, while they're on probation for driving without a license. You know, they smoked weed, and guess what? They got a probation violation, you know, or they got caught with weed, and, you know, if it's under an ounce, the district attorney will drop it right away, but that doesn't mean probation will drop it, and in fact, usually they won't, you know. Just getting charged with the crime is enough to revoke your probation. Just getting charged with the crime, not even getting proven guilty, just getting charged, because their burden of proof is a lot lower than the state's burden of proof, the state court's burden of proof, you know. The probation or parole's burden of proof is like a preponderance, which means just even if they think, you know, to ponder is like to think, you know, ponder on things. They just have to prove beyond a preponderance, not beyond a reasonable doubt. Beyond a reasonable doubt is normal court when you're on probation for violations. It's just a preponderance. So just merely getting charged with the crime, even if it gets dismissed, that's enough. It's a preponderance. Hey, they think you could have done it because you got charged with it. So if there's like a 51% chance that you did it, that's a preponderance. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like with fucking court, I think you have to prove like It's like a 90% chance that you did it, or something. I don't know, 95% chance that you did it, at least. You know what I'm saying? But a preponderance is just like probably did it. 51% chance that he did it. Book him, Dana. No, but that's for real how it is. So there's somebody right now sitting in a fucking cell for smoking weed, and they're stuck there all day, right? And they could be there for a week, or they could be there for a month. You know, they're not gonna be there longer than a month, but they could be there for up to a month, dude, just for smoking weed, locked in a cage for a month, 24 hours a day for smoking weed. And the reason why sorry, I should have specified. The reason why the jail is locked down 24 hours a day is because of the coronavirus. So in order to stop the spread, they figure just, you know, do the same thing that they're doing in the free world. Everybody stay in their houses. Everybody stays in their cells all fucking day. So, I mean, it's not fair, man. It's not fair at all, dude. It's fucking horrible. You know, we live in America. In America, a beacon of freedom. And this is how we treat people in America? We lock them in cages for smoking weed or for driving without a license? Now, like I said, the majority are not getting treated like that. But inevitably, there's going to be some, you know, whether it be 10% or 5% or whatever. You know, but it's 5%, you know, if it happens 100 times a week, that's 5 people every fucking week that are having to deal with this for they don't deserve it, man. They don't, straight up, they don't deserve it. You know, and yes, they do try to, you know, they don't want to house people in the jail like that, but inevitably it ends up happening. So the people that fall into this crack are like, you know, people who are already on probation, or, you know, people who have gotten PR bonds before and didn't show up for court, so they don't want to give you a PR bond again. You know, you kind of screw yourself. But if you're a first-time offender, like, and you get caught driving without a license, you will get a PR bond. Like, almost certain. Unless you just say something like fucking stupid. Or if you're homeless, I think they may not give them because they don't have an address to check up on you at or something. I don't know, but as long as you have an address that you can post, you'll get a PR bond on your first offense. But there are people who are already on probation. You know, they're on probation for something dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like a DWI when they just blew like a .08, you know what I'm saying? They were barely even drunk, you know, had a little buzz, and they drove because they didn't want their friend who was super fucking drunk to drive, and then they end up getting a DWI. You know, it happens all the time, you know what I'm saying? The least drunk person driving gets a DWI, and they're trying to protect people, but they end up catching the DWI. Yeah, that's the smart thing to do, on Uber, call somebody or whatever, but sometimes it doesn't work out. It sounds good on paper, you know, sounds good, but it doesn't happen like that. And there are people who get a DWI when they're driving a .08. They barely have a buzz, but it's enough to get a DWI. And then they get caught with some weed later. You know, they get the case thrown out, but probation comes back with a violation. And it's usually when probation comes back with a violation, it's either a pretty high bond or no bond, you know. So it's at least, at the very minimum, they'll double what your first bond was when you initially picked up that case. That's the very minimum that probation will do. But a lot of times the MTR start at $10,000 bonds, you know. That means to get out, you gotta have like at least $250 cash. You know, if you go to one of the lower bail bonds, if you go to some bail bonds, they'll want the full 1,000. But it's about $250 and a $10,000 bond. But not a lot of people have an extra $250 sitting around. Sometimes they gotta wait a week to come up with it, and they gotta sit in a cell 24 hours a day while they're waiting for their paycheck to come in and they get that $250 so they can bond the fuck out, you know. And that doesn't mean that they won't have to go to jail later. You know, they could bond out and they could sentence them to 30 days for that shit. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, they got a week so far, but that only counts as 14 days. They still gotta, you know, because you get double time, so you still gotta serve another week. You know, when you go to court, they can tell you, okay, you're sentenced to 30 days in jail. You got 14 credits so far. We need another 16, so go sit in jail for 8 days because you decided to smoke some weed, and you're sitting in a cell all by yourself, locked in a cage. not only are you locked in a cage and it's extremely boring and it's a horrible situation to be in for such a minor crime, but you're also being exposed to the virus. You know what I'm saying? That don't even deserve to be exposed to it. You know, and the staff, dude, they don't deserve to be exposed to it either. You know, I'll be fair. You know, they don't deserve to get the coronavirus. You know what I'm saying? Even if some of them are dicks, nobody deserves that shit. Well, I mean, some people do, but not them. And they don't. You know, staff doesn't deserve that shit. Inmates don't deserve that shit unless they're rapists or child molesters or child beaters. You know what I'm saying? Or elderly beaters or something. You know what I'm saying? Do some shit like that. Yeah. Then yeah, you deserve to be there and get that. But other than that, no. And that's the majority of people that are in there. I feel like, you know. I'm not saying the majority of people are in there on misdemeanors. You know, some people are there on low-level felonies, but I feel like they're gonna get probation later, anyways. They just can't make bond, so they're fucking for a month while they're trying to get put on probation. Guess what? They're sitting in a fucking cell when they're gonna be on probation anyways. You know, but they either couldn't make bond or they missed court dates in the past, so they couldn't get a PR bond. You know, usually they do it to themselves, but still, it doesn't make it fair. Just because somebody does something like that to themselves doesn't mean they deserve to be locked in a cage for, you know, a month straight or deserve to be exposed to the coronavirus, right? So I just want you guys to think while you're at home, you're social distancing, you're crying about having to stay home all day. Think about the people who are locked up on a stupid ass charge like possessing of marijuana or driving without a license. You know, think about that. You know, and they might have to stay in that cage for up to a month. You know, most of them will get out in like 10 days, but still, 10 days suck, dude. 10 days being locked in a cage, dude. 24 hours a day, that sucks, dude. You know, just staying home for 10 days straight sucks. Imagine staying in a cell for 10 days straight, and that's at the lower end of this. You know what I'm saying? That's at the people. You know, some of the people with like multiple misdemeanors and shit like that, they might have to stay for like 2 months. You know, or people who are on probation and pick up new misdemeanors or whatever, they might have to stay there for 2 or 3 months. You know, or if they get a bad prosecutor and the prosecutor wants to give them the full 6 months for their fucking DWI that they got, they blew a .08. The prosecutor has a boner for them and said, yeah, give them 180 days. You know, you got to serve fucking half of that, so 90 days in a cage for blowing a .08 and smoking some weed, and it happens, dude. 90 days in a cage for blowing a .08 and smoking some weed while you're on probation afterwards. Okay, it happens, and the prosecutor will give you 180 days if they have a boner for you. I saw a guy who got the 180 who was on probation for a DWI. You know, some nerdy white dude. He was on probation for a DWI. He fucked up his probation. I don't remember how. And they gave him the full 6 months, man. He was in a trustee pod, so I'm not sure. His name was Austin. I don't remember if he ended up serving the full 90 days or they let him out. Or let him out after 60 days. I think they did let him out after 60 days because he was a trustee. And that's another thing. You know, if you're trustees, allegedly you get 3 for 1. I don't know exactly how it works, but yeah. So I think I don't know, cause I think he was still there when I left. I was only in that pod he was in for like a month. I want to say he was still there when I was left, and they gave him the full 6 months, dude. So he didn't have a good lawyer, and he just got screwed. You know, they probably took a look at him and were like, oh, we don't like this guy. He had like patches of hair missing. I thought he had mange. He was a cool dude, but he had like a patch of hair missing. I thought maybe he had mange or something. I don't think he did though. But yeah, dude. You know, he got the full for a DWI. I don't even think he picked up a new case. I think it was just a technical violation, and they gave him the full 6 months, man, for a Class B misdemeanor. But he wasn't locked in a cage. He was moving around, having a good time. So his experience wasn't as bad. But just imagine that happening to somebody now, you know, and they're locked down all day, man. It's just incomprehensible to think that in the United States of America that we're treating people like that. So I just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention. I know I rambled on and on. I know in every other video I ramble on, so I figured might as well ramble, go on a rant, and just express myself and let people know, hey, you know, there's people out there who are suffering really bad right now. Or you think you're suffering sitting around in your house? That ain't shit. There's people right now locked in cages, being treated like animals, all right, in the United States of America. Okay, when you're in there, I'm no longer Frankie Dieck when I'm in there. I'm SID number 906800. Inmate, trustee. Hey, inmate, stand back. Trustee, go get this. Go get that. Take this to AK, trustee. Take this to BI, trustee. Inmate, stand against the wall. What's your SID number? 906800? Okay, here you go. You're not a human. You're a number. You're an inmate. You're an animal. You're no longer human when you're in there. That's just on a normal day. That's just on a day when it's not locked down. Imagine when it's locked down the whole time. It's ridiculous, man. Should be ashamed of themselves, man. We as a society should be ashamed of ourselves. We let this law enforcement shit get way out of hand, man. We incarcerate more people than any other country in the world, yet we're supposed to be the freest country in the world. It's a joke. It's a fucking joke. And there's such a thing called the prison industrial complex. Look it up. Just like everything in America, it's all about money. You know, wars are about money. Incarcerating people is about money. You know, I like to say, I had a saying I like to say, America learned one thing after World War II. Remember, how did America get out of the Great Depression? World War II. And they learned wars get us out of depression because we're such a big country. We can manufacture all kinds of shit, or we can loot other countries at the same time. So they realized, hey, we were able to get out of the Great Depression because of World War II. So whenever there's a depression, all we got to do, go to war. And hey, guess what's going to happen after the coronavirus, huh? What do you think? You think everything's going to be fine and dandy? The stock market's going to be great? No, man. There's going to be a depression. Not a recession, a depression. And how did America get out of the depression? World War II. So just think about that, right? Just think about that. Watch, something will happen. Just watch. I mean, we're still technically at war in Afghanistan. Technically, I think. It's not like real bad, Only a couple people die per week, but it's still technically at war. We kind of just forget about it. Every now and then we'll hear, like once a month, one serviceman was killed in Afghanistan. You didn't really hear about it that much. But just remember, a depression is coming. And I don't know if the guys, in the White House are going to think, how do we get out of a depression again? Oh, yeah. All right, here we come, Iran. Here we come, North Korea. Here we come, Syria. Here we come, Yemen. So just keep that in mind. And if you guys know anybody that's locked up, write them. Because they're going through a lot right now. Write them. Let them know that you're thinking about them. That you love them. Also, if you can, please, on the letter, try to figure out a way to entertain them for a long period of time. Write them a list of 30 questions that they can answer so they can have fun, or tell them a story about your favorite time in the free world with them, and then ask them to return the favor and write them a story about their favorite time in the free world with you. Ask them their favorite movie and tell why, and just get their brain going, entertain them, man. Entertain them, get their mind off of the fact that they're locked in a cage, and most of them locked in a cage for something stupid. The majority of them are. So write them, let them know you're thinking about them. Stay free, don't become one of them. Don't become another statistic. You definitely don't want to go to jail right now. I know they're letting a lot of people slide on misdemeanors. They're doing a lot of cite and releases, but it doesn't mean they'll do some dumb shit. Because even if they do cite and release you, you're going to have to deal with that misdemeanor at some point. And if you're somebody that can't behave, you'll inevitably end up in jail, even if it's after this shit's over with. But alright, guys, I've rambled on enough. I think y'all get the message. Stay free. Write somebody that's incarcerated if you can. And don't forget about the plight of incarcerated persons in America. And what else? Oh, yeah. Palabra.